Hello, my Math 3 scholars. So today we're going to talk about adding rational expressions. Okay, we've talked about simplifying them, multiplying, dividing, and now we're going to move to adding rational expressions. So before we talk about adding rational expressions, I just need to review with you, what if we were adding regular fractions, 2/3 plus 3/4? Now, if you'll remember when you added fractions back in probably elementary school, you had to come up with a common denominator, okay? And normally what you did was you found the least common multiple of these two down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come up here and we're going to find that least common multiple. So if we list 3 and 4, it's 3, 6, 9, 12. Those are the multiples of 3. And down here we would have 4, 8, and then 12. So our least common multiple would be 12. And then you came down here and you wrote 2/3 plus 3/4. We usually wrote them top to bottom like that. And we said, okay, I want to change this 3 to a 12, and I want to change that 4 to a 12. And you ask yourself, okay, what do I multiply 3 by to get 12? Well, you multiply it by 4. Well, whatever you do to this denominator, you also have to do to the numerator. So we're going to multiply the top by 4 as well. So 2 times 4 is 8. So we have 8/12 now instead of 2/3. And for 3/4, what do we multiply 4 by to get 12? We multiply it by 3. And then, of course, we would have to do the same thing up here and multiply that 3 by 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. And then we added these two together. And remember, when you add fractions, you keep the denominator the same. So whatever my answer is, it's going to be over 12. I keep that common denominator that I came up with. And then you add your numerators. 8 plus 9 is 17. Now, in this case, it ended up being an improper fraction. So we would have to convert that to a mixed number. Let me remind you how to do that. 12 goes into 17 one time. 1 times 12 is 12. And then when you subtract, 7 minus 2 is 5. So your big number of your mixed number is this number you come up with up here. So this is going to be equal to 1. And then this is the numerator of your fraction, 5. And this is the denominator of your fraction, 12. So we get 1 and 5/12. Okay? Now, that is just a reminder of what you have to do in order to get a common denominator, how we did it back in elementary school. So how do we find the least common multiple of these rational expressions like we're looking at? So let's consider these two examples here. And I will tell you that the two examples I'm doing here are probably harder than what you're going to be looking at in the problems that we're going to do later, okay? So if I wanted to find the LCM of these two rational expressions, first I'm going to write this one down, the first one. Okay, so in order to get 12, I could rewrite 12 as 4 times 3, but 2 can be written as 2 times 2 times 3. I want to write it as its prime factors. So 2 times 2 is 4 times 3. That gives me the 12. And then x squared we're going to write as x times x, and then times y. And then we've got to factor this. So this is where you have to use the diamond method. We want to get a 1 times 1 is 1, positive 1, and it needs to be a positive 2 there. Well, that's going to be a positive 1 times a positive 1 to give us positive 1, and then 1 plus 1 would give us the positive 2. So this is going to be x plus 1 times x plus 1. Okay, this is the prime factorization of this rational expression. Okay, now let's do the prime factorization of 18xy cubed x squared plus 5x plus 4. All right, 18 is 9 times 2. So we're going to do that 2, but then 9 can be rewritten as 3 times 3. And then I've got the x, and then there's 3 y's. So we're going to do y times y times y. And then we've got to factor this x squared plus 5x plus 4. So we need to get 1 times 4, positive 4, and add to get a positive 5. Well, that's going to be a positive 1 and a positive 4. 1 times 4 is 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. So that's going to be x plus 1 times x plus 4. Now, what we do at this point is we circle the most we have in each place. So what I mean by that is this. We only have 1 2 in this one, but we have 2 2s up here. So I'm going to circle both of those because that's the most there is. Okay, then There's 1 3 here, but there's 2 threes here. So I'm going to circle those 2 3s. There's 1 x here, but there's 2 x's up here. So I'm going to circle those 2 x's. There's 1 y here, but there's 3 y's here. So I'm going to circle those 3 y's. There's 1 x plus 1, but there's 2 x plus 1's up here. So I'm going to circle both of those. And then I have an x plus 4. There's only one of those, so I have to circle it. So we accounted for every single multiple factor that we had there, and then you have to account for how many you have. So to do your LCM, you're going to put all that together. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. So 4 times 9 would be 36. Then you have an x squared, a y cubed, because there's 3 of them, 2 x's, 3 y's. You have x plus 1 twice, so that's going to be x plus 1 squared. And then we have the x plus 4 once. So this entire thing here would be the least common multiple. Now that is longer than any least common multiple we're going to do, okay? But I want to show you how to get it. So let's do this one down here. We'll be doing it for 2 rational expressions normally. This one I gave you 3. So first we're going to factor these. Okay, so we're going to factor this. So we know it's an x and an x. All right, 1 times -4 is -4, and I need to get a positive 3. So this is going to be a positive and a negative. To get 4, I'm going to have to do 4 and 1, so that 4 minus 1 will give me that 3 that I need down there. So this is going to be a positive 4 and a negative 1. So x plus 4, x minus 1. The reason it's positive 4 and negative 1 is so I can get a positive 3 here. All right, now x squared plus 2x minus 8. Okay, we know that's an x and an x. Let's do our diamond method. 1 times -8 is -8. And we need to get a positive 2. So that's going to be a positive 4 and a negative 2. 4 minus 2 gives me 2, and 4 times -2 gives me -8. So it's going to be minus 2 and plus 4. All right, then x squared minus 4x plus 4. We know that's an x and an x. Okay, 1 times 4, that's a positive 4, and I need to get a negative 4. So that's going to be -2 and -2. So this is going to be x minus 2 and x minus 2. All right, now, we're going to look and see. I have 1x plus 4, 1x plus 4, and not an x plus 4 down here. So we're going to circle x plus 4 one time. Okay, we have an x minus 1 here, but there's no other x minus 1, so we're going to circle that. Okay, in this one, I've already taken care of the x plus 4. There's only 1. X minus 2. There's 1 here, but notice there's 2 down here. So that means I'm going to come down here and circle the one with 2. So our LCM for this one is going to be the x plus 4 times the x minus 1. And then the x minus 2 is going to be squared because there's 2 of those. So that would be my final answer for the least common multiple. All right, if you have any questions about finding a least common multiple, let me know.